If you would love to sit in a room and spend a couple of days working on your business, sitting in a room with other like-minded business people where you're going to get both shared wisdom and collective momentum, this is what we do in our Mastermind program. If you would like to join us, this is for our members only, right? Our members come to these 3 times a year. Our Mastermind Intensive members get together for 2 days. They spend 2 days in a room together working on very specific parts of their business. But this isn't just a talk fest. It's really hands-on, practical stuff. We get guest speakers coming in and they walk away with an executionable plan that they can put into place in their business straight away. Now, we always keep a couple of spots open for our guests. If you would like to join us in Brisbane on the 25th and 26th of March at Ridges in the Valley in Brisbane, just comment intensive and we will get you all of the details. Spots for guests are super limited and you've got to be able to commit to both days. But if you want to spend 2 days and really power deep dive into your business and walk away with some very, very cool tools that you can implement straight away, comment intensive below. 25, 26 March here in Brisbane. We'll get you all the details.
But sometimes when you actually stop and look at why you're frustrated about behavioral repeating things that frustrate you, perhaps it's because you're not sharing the direction of the business and you're having people go to work and do their job, look after your clients and look after their clients, but they don't know what you're wanting for the business, what you're wanting for them on a bigger scale. So they've sort of got no direction of which way to go to succeed.
If you want more time, money, freedom, and have a business that's not reliant on you, then you're in the right place. Each week, Mark Creedon, along with some of the very best business minds in the world, will take you through simple, practical steps you can take to create the business you always wanted. From his own practical experience, Mark will show you how to work less, make more, and get the business you always wanted, the one that you deserve. Now here's your host, one of Australia's most sought-after business coaches, Mark Creedon.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Mastermind for Business podcast. And as always, joining me in the chair, my business partner, my life partner, my far better half, Caroline. Hey, great to see you. As always, on the chair. Hey, listen, we were talking to one of our Mastermind clients the other day about leadership. And he was sort of saying to you, well, the real problem that I've got in my business now is around leadership, and that's a people issue. I need to change the people.
Yeah.
And you came up with something which is really quite different to that.
Yeah, I sort of looked at it. He's got a great team and there's some really valuable people that he has in his team. He's got a good outlook on what he wants for the people, which is really nice. But it's actually a perspective problem that he has, not a people problem.
So when you're talking about perspective, you're talking there the perspective from the point of view of the business owner versus the point of view of the team member.
Yeah.
Because I know that if we were to sort of put together the most common complaints, if you like, that we get from business owners about team members, and the good thing about Mastermind is we have both business owners and team members in it, so we get to see both perspectives, right?
Yeah.
But from a business owner's perspective, we often hear, look, I have to keep repeating myself. The team don't care. They're not capable. They don't understand. They're not accountable. Maybe I haven't got the right team. They just don't step up. They constantly disappoint me. But what you're saying is that thinking can go one of two ways. You can either turn that into a negative that then self-perpetuates, or you can actually turn it into a positive that solves the issues.
Yes. Sometimes I think you can be, as a business owner, you can sort of have your head in the clouds a little bit, thinking that everybody's super duper happy because you're, putting on your Friday lunches or something like that. Yep. But sometimes when you actually stop and look at why you're frustrated about behavioral repeating things that frustrate you, perhaps it's because you're not sharing the direction of the business and you're having people go to work and do their job, look after your clients and look after their clients, but they don't know what you're wanting for the business, what you're wanting for them on a bigger scale. So they've sort of got no direction of which way to go to succeed.
So one of the things that we've just done in the Metropolitan Group, we've had Adrian, our COO, has gone around to all the offices and presented to them a sit rep, a situation report. Hey, this is where we're at. This is what the company's doing financially. He's actually shared some financial figures. This is what the company's doing financially. This is where we're going. And the feedback that he's been getting from those sessions has always been I can really see, I know, there's a lot of talk about the big picture, but now I can see how I've got the link between what the big picture is and how we're going to get there. And I guess from perspectives, it's a matter of aligning them, isn't it? Because owners and team members are going to see different things, aren't they?
Yep. Teams tend to see things on the ground level more than a manager or leader will.
Right, because a business owner is going to look at what's the strategy, what's the financial pressure. I mean, what does the future look like? But I guess team members are probably more focused on the day-to-day, like the tasks, the things they've got to do, priorities.
Yep.
So you've almost got, it's like a Venn diagram.
Yeah.
And so you've got this perspective of the owner or leader perspective of the team member, and the magic happens in the middle. So the magic happens when you get those two perspectives aligned, doesn't it?
Yep. I think the challenge for business owners out there is to stop for a bit and go, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they seeing what I'm seeing? As a business owner, I'm seeing all those big picture things. Why aren't the team seeing that? What perspective are they looking at? And why haven't I shared that context that they want to see?
See, I love that word context, because you can share a desire, a dream, a hope, a plan, a destination, but if you don't put it into some kind of context.
Yeah.
So we've both worked in the past with businesses where if you went to the team and said to them, what's the purpose of the business? They'd say to make the owner more money, right? And so we've worked with that company to then shift that around so that the team started to say, the purpose of the business is to help the clients achieve their outcomes and to help me to grow as a person, help me to improve. And so that I think that's where context is super important.
Yeah, I think so.
So if you're going to go out, I mean, let's talk about how we look at this. So what are some of the things because there's a bit of a shift that leaders need to go through, isn't there?
Yeah. There's in one of the notes that I made when I was sort of thinking about this topic is that replacing people is often not what fixes the leadership tension.
No.
At the moment, you sort of go, oh, thank God that's, I've done that. It's an awful job to do, but I'm super glad that that's going to happen. That's actually not the case, because it's more of it almost falls into a geography issue.
Right. And I want to explain that because listeners might not know what you mean. By the way, Caroline often has 3/4 of the sentence in her head and then just the last 25% that comes out, dear listener. And
Dear listener.
We've been married for 20 years, so I've gotten used to interpreting that now. But what you're talking about there is that, people often say, oh, I can't wait until I move. Or somebody once said to me, oh, I'm going to move to New South Wales because that's just going to,
all my problems are going to be fixed if I move to New South Wales.
And here's the reality. You know where that line came from? It came from the movie Pretty Woman.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. Where Vivian's talking to her friend outside in the hotel and she goes, I'm going to do this and I'm going to move here, I'm going to move there. And she goes, that's just geography. So if you're not actually changing the way you're thinking or changing what you're doing, but if you're not actually changing that, if you're not changing, then and all you're doing is moving or, rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic or just geography. It's a similar sort of a concept.
Yeah.
But I reckon that there's things that leaders can sort of stop doing, isn't there? Like they can sort of stop, instead of asking why aren't they doing this, speaking about their team, they can start looking at it in a different way, can't they?
Yeah, shifting that perspective.
Yeah.
What can you apply to your position and what you're doing, what you're giving over to your leadership team that can help everybody?
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is understanding that you've actually shared the outcome.
Yep.
You as a leader, you have to share. We always use that analogy, Caroline. If I pulled up outside your house in the car and said, jump in, what's the first question you'd ask me? And hopefully it's where are we going?
I was going to say you Richard Gere, but
but I mean, so it's where are we going? And so we need to actually share not only our destination, but we need to share the purpose and the outcome. So if you're listening to this now and you're running a business and you're going, oh, my team just aren't quite stepping up, rather than thinking about, putting the broom through, just stop and have a think and grab a mirror for a minute and sort of go, well, hang on a second. Have I shared the destination? Have I shared the purpose? Have I shared the outcome? Are they really clear? Am I standing in their shoes and looking at it from their perspective? What are they seeing about the business?
Yeah.
And if we can get them to see what we are seeing, that's where the magic happens, isn't it?
Yeah. And also to add on to that, it's what the impact is for them. If you have to turn up to a job every day, a position every day, and you feel that the emotional impact and the professional impact that has on you, you're going to be less likely to step up. You will disengage and, they'll become situations and problems that don't need to arise if the business owner can actually see that their perspective is quite different.
Yeah, it's something that you mentioned is that we often get this comment that they just don't think like I do. Now, I've got a bit of a view on that. Some of us have entrepreneurial blood coursing through our veins, and some of us don't. And there's a reason. If people come to me and say, "Oh, they don't think the same as me," and my answer to that often is, "Well, that's why you're the entrepreneur and they're not." Right?
Yep.
But the reality is, you can help them even if they don't think the same as you. You can help them to have a similar context, to see things through your perspective, which is for the betterment of the business and the betterment of the client, right?
Yeah.
And to help them to grow, etc. I guess unless you get those perspectives aligned, then they're never actually going to think like a leader, are they?
No, you've got to break down the communication gap.
Yeah. Invest in people, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, one of the things that we do with our Mastermind members is when people join Mastermind, we say you don't just join your business, join so you bring your team. So, for example, when we have our intensives that we do 3 times a year, we always say, bring your team along, because this is a real opportunity for them to step out of their day-to-day role, the stuff you spoke about before, the minutiae,
Yes.
and then think more in terms of what's the big picture of the business and how do I contribute to that?
Yeah. There is a lot of value of stepping outside of your day-to-day, learning new things and analyzing and looking back at your business without being in your business.
Well, that outside perspective, I think, is really important, and it's very hard when you're buried. There's an old mate of mine used to say, I say, how's your business going? I used to say, I'm up to my ass in crocodiles, is what he always used to say. But if you don't,
In Darwin?
yeah, but if you don't get out of that and spend some time working on it, we can talk about that as a concept. But I think the big thing here is investing it in your team, and I want to make this really clear, because investing it in your team isn't putting a ping pong table or a table tennis table in the lunchroom.
No.
Or a slippery slide or a basketball hoop. Sure, they're great, but that is not culture. That is not investing in the team. Investing in the team, I think, is 3 things. It's helping them to be better at what they do and who they are. It's helping them to see what the big picture vision is. And then it's helping them to see what role they can play in that. So one of the sessions we did, because every Friday we do a Mastermind session, we do a Focus Friday session with our members. And one of the sessions we did last week was, what are your plans for the next 12 months, right? And to focus then on the who, not the how. And from a business owner or leader's perspective is, who do you need to get you there?
Yeah.
But from a team member's perspective is, who do you need to become to get you there?
Yeah.
And I think that was a real eye-opener, wasn't it?
Yeah. And what I loved about that session is there was a few that really struggled with that because they didn't, there was probably a number of reasons. One of them being that they probably didn't want to allow themselves to become different, or they didn't think they deserved to be different or better, or they were worried about the outcome of the unknown if they were better. So there's sort of a little bit of, I don't know what the polite way of saying it.
Well,
A bit of personal head messing.
There was. What you're trying to say polite was to stop people fucking with their head. But I mean, that's the concept here. I think is that you've got, as a business owner or a leader in a business, you've got to spend the time with your team to bring them into that world, and you've got to help them to say, do you know what? If you are not in the right position now to achieve what we need you to achieve and what you want to achieve, let's talk about who you need to become and what needs to be done to help get you there.
Yeah, yep. One, just while I'm thinking about this, is giving your team the best opportunity is sometimes not what you think is the best opportunity.
Yep.
So one of the things that we're doing in the Metropole group at the moment is offering positions internally before they go externally.
Right. Our Pathways program.
Our Pathways program. And it's actually been quite humbling watching the different team members in a totally different department, even though we don't like to call departments.
Different division
But
of
different
business,
division
different area
of the business.
responsibility.
Yep. Wanting to move into, say, a sales position or a front of face position that you wouldn't normally have
100%.
put them there because you assumed that that wouldn't be something that would float their boat, or they wouldn't be up for a challenge and those sorts of things. But when it's out there, I've been pleasantly surprised.
Well, what reason why one should never assume? No. I think the other thing too, Caroline, where this is really relevant, we're talking about taking time to spend with your team, taking time to get different perspectives, taking time for the team to understand your perspective and you to understand theirs. And that's really hard on a day-to-day basis, right? When you're in the operational aspect. And I think that's, like, if I just talk about Mastermind for a minute, I think that's what probably our Mastermind members get from the intensives. You know,
That's a different perspective
well, that's what
from us, from other members there. Yeah,
that's right.
people at the
So
table.
three times a year we get together and we spend 2 days out of the business, and the whole idea of that is for them and their team members to out of the business, talking to other people from other industries, talking to us, but really helping to fine tune their own perspective and then also the perspective of their team member as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Speaking of that, nice segue. We've got a Mastermind Intensive coming up on Brisbane on the 26th of March. So whilst it's for our members, we always hold a few guest spots. So if you'd like to join on, I know this is very late by the time you're listening to this, but we do have a couple of spare spaces that we always leave for last minute guests. If you'd like to, just pop yes, please in the comments, and we'll make sure that we get you all the deets and get you along. And if you miss us in March, we're back in July for another intensive. We'd love to have you join us there. All right. So Caroline, quick wrap up. This is about, if you're talking about issues around leadership or leaders thinking that people aren't stepping up, they're not performing well enough. Sometimes it's not about changing the people or fixing what they're doing, but fixing the way they're thinking, which is about a changing perspective.
Yep. Stop thinking, why aren't they doing what I'm asking them to do? Let's twist that around. What am I not doing to enable them to do what they want to do?
Love it. Thanks, Caroline. Always good to chat, and look forward to chatting in the next episode of the Mastermind for Business podcast.